Cheers, queers! Today, on the big gay agenda, the three of us are going to talk about Girls Like Girls, the novel by Lesbian Jesus. Guys, excited?
Theora, you just put up 5 fingers.
I did this.
Oh, it looked like 5.
3. I just used 2 hands. It's not important.
Amazing. I am excited because I've been waiting for this book for a long time.
Hell yeah. But before we jump into all the fun stuff about this book, it's been a while since we've did a shout out to our financial supporters. Kaitlynn, would you like to take that away?
Yes. So, the members of our Chaos crew this month are Frida, Sapphire, Sandy, and Mackenzie. If you want to support a Patreon, we have different tiers that will give you early access to ad-free episodes, exclusive bonus content, a special Keeping Up with Big Gay Energy After Dark podcast, to get to know us so much more and see more of us messing up. And so much more. So come join our Chaos crew. It's fun and it's chaotic.
Yeah, and just a big thank you to everyone who stuck with us through our hiatus and the newcomers. Yes. And we're happy to have you as part of the Big Gay Energy agenda.
Welcome.
Yeah, so if you want to become a Patreon, join. We have so much more that we do, and we give it all to our Patreon members. But on that note, we'll dive into today's Big Gay agenda, Girls Like Girls. And a little bit of background on this book, if you didn't know. So this is a novel written by Hayley Kiyoko, Lesbian Jesus. And it's her first novel ever, which if you read it, it's a little surprising. She wrote it so well. And originally, though, so a little history on Girls Like Girls, period. So it started out as a song that translated into a music video, which you may or may not have seen. It is on YouTube. Go watch it. It's awesome. And Hayley spent I think 5 to 7 years trying to make this a feature film. She tried and has talked about this in interviews, and just getting a movie made is a lot harder than it sounds. And we actually just did an interview with a group who's trying to make a short film, and they kind of talked about that project. If you want to learn more, go check that out. But this, ultimately, the movie dream didn't pan out, so Hayley turned it into a novel, and that's how we got the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
But hopefully it will be made into a feature now that the book's out. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Not anytime soon.
No.
Well, with writer strikes and acting strikes. No. But maybe in the future, if, this gets enough attention. It's been on the New York Times bestsellers list for a couple of weeks now. So far, so good.
Indeed.
Yeah, but speaking of music, while there is the music video about Girls Like Girls, music itself clearly played a big role in the book. There's several music references throughout the book. And so we put together a playlist that goes along with the book and incorporates some Lesbian Jesus music. Because, let's be real, she made so many references to her own songs in this book. We put together a playlist. So if you're interested in listening to the audio version of this book in music, check out our playlist. We'll link it below and probably post it on our socials before this even comes out. And
I only know 3 of the songs in this whole playlist.
So it's for educating Kaitlynn as well. And we are going to educate Kaitlynn at the very end because, spoiler, Kaitlynn has not seen the Girls Like Girls music video by Hayley Kiyoko. So if you're a Patreon member, at the end of this episode, we are going to educate Kaitlynn on some Lesbian Jesus music and music videos and watch those.
I have not heard a Lesbian Jesus song.
Okay, you shouldn't even be allowed on the podcast, but we love you so much.
No! Come back!
Get back!
Oh my god, that was so harsh.
Kaitlyn's gone dark on us.
It's not after dark anymore. She just went dark.
It's okay, Kaitlynn. After this episode, we won't be able to use that joke ever again because you will have seen and listened to Lesbian Jesus music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So stay tuned or become a Patreon if you want to check that out.
I want
All
us
right.
to go to a church and be like, have you heard Lesbian Jesus' music?
Yes, passing out burned CDs because that would be appropriate for this book.
It would. But before we jump into the book, if you have not read the book, we're going to give a trigger warning now about some of the material in this book. And I'm just going to read what Hayley said, because she kindly put a trigger warning in here. It says, please note that this book contains themes about non-graphic reference to suicide. So if that is triggering to you, please skip this episode and just go watch the Girls Like Girls music video, which
Yes.
does
I did not see that
contain
when I started reading this book, by the way.
Yeah, but if you're on that's not a deal breaker to you, and you're kind of like, I don't know, maybe I'm just gonna read the dedication because I think it's super cute, and this is also the main theme of the book. So Hayley says, this is dedicated to anyone who has ever felt hopeless and didn't believe they could have a happy ending. You are worthy. And then she put 3 rainbows because she's lesbian Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So you have been warned in the bad stuff and the good stuff.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And so with that, we will jump into the book. So this book is a first-person point of view book told through our protagonist, Coley, which we're never really told what that nickname stands for. There's an assumption it's Nicole, but it's never confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love it. And Coley, at the start of the book, just moved from San Diego to bumfuck nowhere, Oregon, her words, with her deadbeat dad, Curtis, after she just lost her mother to suicide. And this is where Coley's head's at when we first start the book, but that changes over time. And one thing I super love about where she lives in Cliff's Edge Drive.
Yes. And I literally dropped the book and yelled.
Those two are so excited about it, and I have no idea why.
It's one of her songs.
It's a song. And we're going to watch the music video for the Patreon members, Kaitlynn. But the gist of that song is it's about, like, it's a metaphor, like Cliff's Edge. You know, if you're on a cliff's edge, you can jump and take a leap, like a leap of faith is the metaphor. Or just stay safely on the cliff's edge, like, you know, not take the chance kind of thing. And it's about loving somebody and taking the chance. And that's what this book is about. So, like, I love that she incorporated her songs and stuff into the book. And this was like the first one. So I like smiled real big when I was like, of course she lives on Cliff's Edge Drive. I love it. So
absolutely.
It's so cute. But on a not cute note, Coley, like at the start of the book, you know, is very fresh off of losing her mother to suicide. Her mother, you know, took her own life. And she has a lot of like survivor's guilt about it and is grappling with how to really cope with losing her mom, you know, without like forgetting her and like dealing with the guilt of like, well, if I had gotten home sooner and things like that. So she's not in a great mental place when we first start the book. And she moves in with her dad, who also like hasn't been in her life since she was 3 years old. So she doesn't really know him, and she was 3 years old when it happened and doesn't fully understand why her parents really split up, how that all really panned out. She just has a 3-year-old's perspective, and the later years of all I had was my mom. We were a team. My mom is now gone, and I'm forced to, this guy is now taking care of me because he's forced to. Like, she has that feeling of like, nobody wants me. I wasn't enough to keep my mom alive. I'm not enough. I wasn't enough to keep my dad. And now she's like backed into a corner because she's 17 years old. So she's still like a minor and can't really live on her own without going to like a government foster care system. So she's really not in a good place. And Hayley uses this repetitive language in the beginning where she keeps using the term low bar for everything. Like, there's a low bar for her dad being a dad. There's a low bar for like happiness is what she's kind of getting at, to signify that like Holy is in a mentally low state when we first meet her.
Yeah, so it was a. I just think about how difficult that would be for everyone involved, and there's one thing that I wish we did get a little more info on, but it's not something that was necessary to the story, so I know why it's not there. I did want to know more about how that went down with them breaking up. We get to, like, he talks about it a little bit, but he doesn't really expand on it later on. But anyway, yeah. So I do like the metaphors throughout the book that you can pick up on. I like how she put those like you were saying, with the low bar, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's a very interesting. So at first I was like, this reminds me of, God forbid, Twilight a little bit, but better.
In what way do you mean?
Just like the characters going to live with their dads in the middle of like a rural type
Literally nowhere.
Yeah, Pacific Northwest, and not really being super, and having a dad that was never a dad, really, not knowing them and like having to get to know them. But I really, really actually enjoyed Curtis this entire book. He was one of only 2 male characters that I liked, and there you go.
I think we're only meant to like 2 of the
Yeah, I
male
was like, are we
characters.
supposed to like any of the other ones?
No.
To be fair, later on I like her coworkers, the gay couple that she
Yeah,
works with.
I like the coworkers later on, but we don't get to see enough of them.
No, they're tertiary characters. But I felt like her situation was relatable.
Mhm.
You know, relatable to us during our hiatus too, like that low bar for happiness kind of thing. That feeling is relatable, of just like, I'm so low that just like I'll take the crumbs that I can get. My bar is
Mhm.
low in terms of like joy.
I also like that she wasn't like, she was angry, but she wasn't angry to the point where that was her only the only
Emotion.
aspect of her character, that
Yeah.
like she was, and she shows it to Curtis. At first she's more dismissive of Curtis than anything, to his face.
Yes, and in her monologue too.
Yeah. So she is like, I liked that it wasn't just her being mean to him. Like, that was, I think that the relationship at the start was done well, to where you saw why she was mad, but at the same time she wasn't just like just totally mean.
Yeah, like from the jump, Coley is very realistic. And Hayley, I get the vibe that this was based on a true story for Hayley, because it feels too real for me.
For sure.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So after we're introduced to Coley, like, we start up the story, and she's in middle of nowhere, doesn't know anybody. There's like no AC at her house, and it's like the middle of summer. And her dad's like, "Go make."
Awful.
It sounds like the actual fucking worst. Okay,
the air's on here, and I'm so hot that it's hard. It's hard to do anything.
Okay, but imagine then your dad's like, "Get on your bike and go outside and make friends."
That sounds like something my dad would tell me to do.
Right? And it's like, oh, it's hot inside, go outside. So Coley is like, fine. And so she goes to like the strip mall, I guess, because it's a small town, there's nothing going on. It's the strip mall. And she tries to like park her bike before going outside, going inside where there's air conditioning. And she almost gets unalived by Trenton, the absolute worst human being in the world.
I'm sorry, but I'm calling him Trent because he hates that. The character hates being called Trent, so I'm calling him that for the rest of the time.
Perfect. Let's do it. I with the utmost disrespect, Trent is your typical cishet frat boy douche dude who doesn't know the meaning of the word no.
Exactly. Or that he doesn't own the world in his white cis dude privilege. or
Oh, in
owns
his
Sonya.
brain he does, because of the way he
Mhm.
treats everybody, particularly Sonya, who we'll meet in a second, like property. Yeah. Yeah. So you get the vibe that he's your typical man who only has one emotion, which is anger and violence.
Yes.
So
Which
there's that.
Coley says, I can't remember exactly where it was, says something at one point about how he could be the kind of person to take it that far. And so you just, like, this dude's going to blow up and do some physical damage to somebody.
Somebody.
So yeah, Trent can go jump in the lake, and yeah.
You have any thoughts on when you first met Trent, Kaitlynn?
Trent pisses me off.
Yeah, and that is an appropriate reaction.
And that's why I don't like people.
Yeah, Trent is a if you were trying to like get people if you were an alien race and you came to and you're trying to get humanity campaigns going, he's your poster child. Let's put it that way. But we get the opposite of that when Coley meets Sonya, and by meets, gay stares at for like 20 seconds. So Coley is showing her hand immediately when she meets Sonya.
Mm-hmm. Jeez, Coley, like the teen angst queerness is just rolls off the page and slaps you in the face.
Oh, Coley radiates lesbian energy the whole time, which I appreciate.
I do too.
Especially going into a Hayley Kiyoko novel, I didn't expect anything less. So we meet the love interest Sonya for like a hot second. And then Sonya's like, hey, sorry, this Trent almost killed you. Would you like to come to the lake with us?
Exactly. Come hang out with the dude that almost killed you.
I thought it was very weird that they were getting in the car and then she just turns around and was like, are you coming? Like, why would she think that she was invited, first of all?
It's weird. Well, I don't get that either, because like they go in the arcade for like a hot second. Coley kind of like does more gay staring, and at the end, Sonya's like, "You're coming, right?" I'm like, what? It was a bit fast.
Yes, she just assumed.
But I think that's part of
coming.
I think it's part of Sonya's personality too at the beginning. So like, whereas Trent is the I get my way all the time character from a male perspective, Sonya kind of has that from a female perspective, because she has like they never gave us true details about her, but I assume it's like rich white girl privilege, where she's like, you're gonna do what I want, right? It's kind of where we're getting at. And Coley's your useless lesbian who's like, who does she think she is? Okay. That was most of her inner dialogue about Sonya.
Yeah, it's really is like, and I think it's also from the perspective of Sonya's just that person that attracts a lot of people, whether it be from a friendship perspective or a more perspective, and is used to people wanting her and doing things for her.
Yeah, she's pretty white girl privilege, where she's like, she gets her way. Exactly. And through this, Coley is a useless lesbian, so she's like, okay, I'll go with these strangers. And this is where she observes the friend group. And so we get to meet Sonya's other friends, one of which is SJ. And my initial impression of her is she's like that one friend who's like a cold-hearted bitch to everybody, but unless you're her friend, if you're her friend, she's ride or die for you. That was my initial impression of SJ.
Yeah. I think she's very skeptical about any outsiders and she's skeptical about Coley, obviously, until she finds out that they have something in common later on. So,
I mean, I'd be skeptical too of this girl you picked up at a parking lot. It's kind of weird.
In an arcade, like, weren't they were like in an arcade or something, and I'm like,
yeah,
because I remember her talking about how she went there because it was advertised to have air conditioning, and turns out it was a fan that didn't even oscillate.
Right.
And that's ugh. gross.
Small
Since
town
we're having
stuff.
105-degree weather, it really got me.
I guess we should also point out that this book takes place in the early 2000s.
Yes.
So it's a period piece. It's a period piece from our childhood.
Yes, this gave me so many nostalgia feels, but also all of the gay angsty feels from me 17 to 19.
Yeah. No, Hayley nails it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any thoughts about SJ when you first met her, Kaitlynn? Do you remember SJ?
SJ and Brooke confused. I know I liked SJ better than Brooke.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
SJ's the good friend. But she like comes off as cold when like Holy first meets her, but she's just protective of her friends. All right, we'll jump into Brooke. Then there's Brooke, who's the opposite of SJ. And to me, Brooke came off as a pick-me because of the way she like is always cooing after Trent. And to me, it came off as like, I don't know that she liked him necessarily, or like the social capital that came with him, because he's the privileged male of the group. And like, she doesn't hide it at all, that like she's really there to get him versus like be friends with Sonia and like SJ.
Yep. She doesn't even have to know what's going on in a situation. She just walks in and is immediately on Trent's side.
Yep.
And end of story. And I'm like, why are you just
that never
why
changes?
No,
it never changes. I mean, unfortunately, it's a social role for like women in, I assume, Christian households, where your job is to be emotionally take care of these whiny bitch men and make them feel better. And that's what she does over and over again, repeatedly with Trent. So like she's just playing that role to a T.
And if I didn't hate the character of Trent already, when every time he does do something stupid and get everyone pissed off at him, he turns it around and blames it on pretty much Coley, because the times that he does it, it's always Coley, and you're like, well, they should have left him in the lake. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, yeah, like in this scene, yeah, Trent basically dunks her in a lake by accident, and like you said, he blames her. But he does that over and over, and that's a male thing. Like in this hyper patriarchy thing where men have to be perfect, and so they can't admit that they're flawed or admit that they abdicate responsibility and just blame other people. He does it not just to her, but he does it to so many other characters, where he blames Sonya. He's like, oh, it's your fault.
Yeah.
So this is honestly a typical social thing that we see a lot.
A classic. He has the markings of a classic abuser.
Yeah, and narcissist. He has narcissistic tendencies as well.
He's got Darvo out the butt, like coercive control kind of relationships.
Yeah, but we get another character that's the opposite of that I was very happy about, which is Alex, who actually seems like, off the bat, seems like a genuine nice guy. Not nice guy in air quotes, but an actual nice human being. And just has like straight up chill vibes. He's the one that like keeps the group calm. He brings the weed. He's the chill friend you want to talk to and like will actually listen and be supportive.
I feel like Alex shows up a lot of times when like he's just kind of hangs on the periphery, and then he shows up when you need him. A lot of times.
Yeah, he's like a golden retriever.
Yeah, like when Kaitlynn. He's just... Yeah.
What is happening?
What do you mean?
We're talking about Alex. What did you think of Alex?
I know that. I like golden retrievers.
Yeah, wasn't Alex kind of like a golden retriever? He was like really nice and protective, and you kind of want to hug him.
I think he was way more chill than a golden retriever, though.
What did you say? He was an apologizer?
Yeah, for Trent, because he had to like make up for everything that he did.
Yeah, like definitely the big like because you get the sense that Alex is a good friend,
Yeah.
and he's kind of like, well, this is how Trent kind of, but like there is times when he like when Trent tries to push things too far in front of Alex, where Alex is like, you need to stop. And
Yeah.
it's the typical male thing where like Trent feels like he's above the women, so he can just be like, no, I'm right, you're wrong. But when Alex pushes back, that's the only time he's like, he actually stops because he's like, oh, another guy is telling me I need to stop. But of course,
Until
he
it's
like
like
doesn't own,
bro
still won't
code.
own it. But yeah, Alex is like, it's clear from their dynamics that Alex is the only one that like get Trent to stop, and then yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the friend group. So at the lake, despite the bullshit with Trent, Sonia and Coley still kind of have more stuff together because like Coley's like, fuck this shit, I'm out. And she leaves because, I mean, who wouldn't? And some douchebag just dunked you in a lake. Like, fuck this shit. Friends are not worth it. It was my take on this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And Coley goes to leave and like get her bike and get the fuck out of there. But Sonia follows her. Then proceeds to flirt with her. And gives Coley her number and her AOL Instant Messenger account. And like I almost lost it at the AIM account thing because that was my life growing up. So I was just like, yes.
Yes, and like when I read it, I could hear the noise of someone going offline or coming online because it was very distinctive door opening, door closing. If you went off on and off, yes, I was like, oh, in my head, because it was just one of those things one of those noises that stick in your brain when you're through your formative years if you use AIM so much, and the fact that LiveJournal is in here too. Because yes, I was writing fan fiction on LiveJournal back in the day.
So LiveJournal,
I don't know what that one is.
Yeah, LiveJournal is a little bit before my time too. It was like the before Tumblr was kind of thing. It's like ancient Tumblr in a way, because you could like post things and comment and like write essays.
There was no like re-blogging or anything. It was literally just a journal that people. It was like a journal site, and you did entries, and you could do them privately or publicly, and then basically people would comment. But it turned into a social media platform actually, where people would interact with all of that and fandoms. That's where fandoms gathered for a while. Because it was like one of the only places. So there would be like these. Yeah, I wrote Grey's Anatomy fan fiction on there back in the day. And Buffy. Anyway, moving on.
I'm surprised by the Grey's Anatomy one.
Really? Mm-hmm. Why?
Me too.
Cali and Arizona beaches. I still have fan fiction out there. Who knows where? But it was just one of those things. So back then, you had two choices. They either made an actual forum for the fandom, so like the one they did for the queer characters in Buffy was the kitten, the witches, and the bad wardrobe, and everyone posted their thoughts and fan fiction on a forum, or you did LiveJournal. Those were your choices in the early days.
That sounds tough.
It was pretty cool, actually. Made a lot of friends. A lot of ex-girlfriends.
Speaking of like girlfriends. So Coley and Sonia, this is the start. Let's be honest. And my favorite thing about this particular interaction is the way Coley in her inner monologue just describes what's happening. First of all, Hayley Kiyoko, beautiful. Like you can tell she's a lyricist by the way she writes, which I love. Her imagery and her emotive language is so very spot on. But just how gay this is just okay. It was really hard to pick my favorite description. So I'm going to give my top two from this interaction because it was just the gayest. So they basically get off on the wrong foot, obviously. And then I think they hug. And then Sonia asks Coley, can we start over? And I'm just going to read what Hayley writes. She asks again, right in my ear. And I think this is how I'm going to die. Just shiver into pieces here on the road. That is one of the gayest sentences I've ever heard in my life.
Gay drama, right? That's just gay dramatics, and I love it.
Just Useless lesbian energy.
Useless teenage lesbian energy.
And then my other favorite is her touch is a jolt that made everything inside me buzz alive. Like spring has come, and I've been hibernating in a denial cave with a grief boulder blocking the entrance. It's just the gayest.
Yes.
It's just the gayest. I love it so much.
Denial cave. I'm using
The
that in
grief
daily
boulder,
life.
like it's just
Yes.
it's just the gayest.
That's some shit. It's some shit I would have written on my live journal back in the day. It's wonderful.
But aside from how gay it is, the other things that I picked up just from this conversation, which is kind of one of their first real conversations, is like through their dialogue, you can get a sense of their defense mechanisms, which is like shaping the character and making them three-dimensional. So Coley seems to be the one who deflects with humor, and that's kind of her emotional armor. Because she, again, we've established in the beginning, is low emotionally. And so she gets people to laugh, and that's kind of her like defense mechanism. And she also has this persona that she's tough, and so nobody messes with her because she's hurting and doesn't want to be hurt anymore.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Sonia does the opposite. Instead of just like being reserved, and like she overcompensates by being dramatic. So she's like overplaying the part of being okay and the happy perfect girl, and she'll say things like darling, it's called romance, and like she like even in her like
I'm so glad we had that recorded. That's my favorite Theora impression so far.
But like she says that to Coley in this conversation, but even like later in her live journal entries, she will use overly dramatic language where she's clearly overcompensating her persona of everything's fine and perfect and happy kind of thing.
Absolutely. It's very, and it's also very kind of indicative of the kind of, even she's a dance girl, so
she is.
I knew all, I played sports with all the dance team girls, and this was like really true to life on my experience with them in general. So it was, again, just like this whole book is like watching a part of high school, like late high school for me, and which was very interesting, and it made me really get into the characters more. And it's like I knew Sonia. You can see her in a lot of girls that I knew back then. So that was something I appreciated. These characters are just super real.
Kaitlynn, did you have any thoughts about Sonia when you kind of we get introduced to her?
I don't remember.
That's okay.
That's okay. There's not. She's very, I don't know, one-dimensional when you first meet her. The first impression is pretty girl. My brain doesn't work. And then she's just being overly nice despite this horrible situation of like the tread bullshit. But the darker side of it that we first get a glimpse into here is that Sonia is the type of girl who doesn't know how to say no. And we've talked about that in another episode, that's a very hard lesson to learn. And it's not something you're taught, how to just set boundaries and say no. And it's kind of apparent in the fact that Coley confronts her about Trent throwing her in the lake. And she's like, why didn't you stop him? And Sonia says like, I didn't know how. And like Coley doesn't let her finish that sentence because she's pissed off at this point. But like that's really indicative of Sonia, the person, and like, again, that social role of perfect girl playing the female role that like men get their way all the time. So, but for Sonia, it's like the first hint, but we get into it later. It's much deeper than that for her.
Yeah. And she goes along with things just to, get along with life. And this is what she has to do to get to where she wants to go, basically, is the general idea of it. And she's rationalizing all of this behavior from Trent and other people so she doesn't have to confront her actual feelings. And I don't mean like for Coley, I mean in general, like what are her real feelings about Trent when he does XYZ, or Trent in general, or even Brooke when Brooke is trying to get, you know, Trent to notice her instead of Sonia, or is jealous of Sonia. So like there are all of these emotions that Sonia has that she just refuses to acknowledge, and ignores them and just goes along with everything, which is an easier route for some people. And we kind of see how she got into that later on when it talks about her mother. And I had another thought that I cannot freaking remember right now, but it was something about dadgummit, maybe I'll remember it at some point. Oh well.
Yeah, we'll jump into the Sonia, how she's indoctrinated into this behavior when we get to her mother, because it's straight up indoctrination. All right, before we move on, I just want to point out one more thing from the conversation with Coley and Sonia. Is one of the things that Coley notices is her nails, Sonia's nails, and they're periwinkle.
Uh-huh.
And if you get the hardcover book and take the cover off, the book is periwinkle colored.
Yeah.
See, that's not where I thought you were going with that statement.
Dear Kaitlynn, where did you think I was going with that statement?
I think that there's only one other plausible place where that could go, so...
Okay. I mean, why Coley was looking at her nails?
For once it wasn't me.
I have been corrupted enough in this podcast to be able to make those jokes now.
And our comment section. So.
Yes.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so I love that. I was because she kept describing the color kept coming up, and I was holding the book, and I'm like, God damn it, that girl, attention to detail.
Yes.
So I could never. That detail.
That made me so happy. I also am somebody who doesn't like to read hardcovers with the book sleeve on because I don't want it to get messed up while I'm reading. So
I would lose it.
I love that Theora is like the book. The book sleeve is there to protect the book, but I want to protect the book sleeve.
I take care of my books. They don't like.
Well, I just feel like it's meant to take care of the book, and where I totally get where you're coming from because I almost do it all the time too. But then I'm like, but I'll lose it.
Nah, I have them like they sit on display for later because like that's it doesn't matter.
It's like a therapist seeing a therapist. You need to take care of yourself if you're taking care of someone else.
Exactly.
Or just like, just get into this.
Thank you all for coming on this book therapy journey with us. Anyway, after we noticed the periwinkle, Sonia and Coley hang out a lot. Like, so much so that Sonia's friends are like, where the fuck are you?
It's typical. So typical.
The honeymoon stage, shall we say?
Yeah. When they haven't confronted anything, but it's all there, and it, like they're in a relationship, but they're not in a relationship, and they're not talking about it, getting to know each other. It's super cute.
I'm surprised it didn't mention that they passed a U-Haul store on.
I know, right?
Does this town even have one, Kaitlynn?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
What time? What year is this?
2001, 2006, something in there.
It says it on the live journal entries. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's right. It does.
2006.
Yes, 2006. June 2006 is when this is happening. Through August. Yeah, so U-Haul existed.
U-Haul did exist because I was already moving at that point.
All right, but I think one of the reasons that they're hanging out a lot and in that they're in the get to know you stage so much is because I think both of them start dropping their facades that takes a lot of energy to keep up. And there's something clever that Hayley does when writing this to note that that's what Coley is doing. And so anytime Coley is talking about Sonia, like the real Sonia, the one that she keeps hidden behind this mask, is she'll use an italicized her anytime she's talking about that, like the real Sonia. And hold on. And she says, she says, like, I like that the best. And she has this line where she says, all I really want to do is see her, italicized. That's why I'm here. That's why I let her drag me out of my house and into shoplifting and down those railroad tracks and then back here. And it's just like that thing where you're just like, I got it bad. And it's like a drug. And it's like, I'm doing all these things out of character for me because I'm just addicted to like seeing her, you know. And Coley mentions it multiple times where she's like, she gets her to laugh and like it's a real laugh. And she's like, I notice it's not fake and it's not overly dramatic. And it's like, that's real. And she has these lines where, or these inner monologue lines where she's like, I never knew what triumph was until I got her to laugh. Like that, it's like that drug thing where it's like, I just want to keep you being you.
So is that not normal to do with friendships? Like, you just...
Not really.
How addicted are you?
Yeah.
No, this was when I was younger. I had a friend that was like bad influence, and I don't know if it was just like a friendship or anything. So
no, that if you're like, I'm not so much addicted to my friends. It's like there's a different component. I mean, you can still just be friends and have that component, but it kind of goes beyond a normal friendship, if you will, even if you don't call it anything else.
To be fair, that one broke up with me, so.
Oh, yeah.
So the whole situation was weird. Let's continue.
I remember what I wanted to say earlier.
Do it.
A miracle. I liked the reason that Sonia gets so into Coley so quickly to me was that Coley just gives her shit in a way that no one else does from the start, and just doesn't react to her the same way that other people do, even though inside Coley is super into her from the start. And I liked that aspect, that Sonia was almost addicted to that. It seemed like that kind of thing that Coley does to her, like makes those real moments come out.
Sonia likes being challenged.
Yes, she does.
That's what it is. Because no one challenges her. She's like Queen Bee.
Yes.
And everyone gives her what she wants because she's playing that role of the perfect girl, perfect daughter, where people give her what she wants as long as she plays the part. And here's somebody who comes along who's like, no, I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm going to tease you. Which she does purposely.
Yes.
Slowly does tease her. And she's like, I feel like when I was reading those scenes where Coley's like purposely like, she wants me to give in, but I'm not going to give her that. Yeah. I'm just going to watch her, let her chase me because that's fun. I felt like I was reading the Feelings music video because that's what like Hayley's great at begging in music videos, and that's what the whole video was about. So I was like, yeah, this I'm like, this feels a little too real.
That dynamic was very relatable. So,
but like and it's clear that Sonia's going to be into something like that because like the first live journal entry she writes is, I'm bored, nothing ever changes here. So here comes somebody who just is like, no, I'm going to challenge you. Like it's who shakes things up. That's what she wanted for real.
It's always when you write that something's going to come and change.
It's almost like Hayley knew.
Almost like she wrote this or something.
It's almost like it's on purpose. But yeah, like it's one of those things where you speak it into existence. She did. Sonia spoke all this shit into existence. And speaking of live journal, so like her live journal is like, I found this to be clever, a clever way of giving us Sonia's point of view, because the story is told through Coley's like point. It's first person, so like you get her inner thoughts. She's speaking. You see everything through her lens, but through the live journals, you get to see Sonia's thoughts, both public thoughts and private thoughts, right? Without like her switching point of views of the characters. You kind of get that gist from these live journal entries, which I thought was clever, a way to do that. And you notice over time, especially during this honeymoon period, the way her journal entries start changing. And it's not the public ones. The public ones are the same, where she's using that dramatic language and that like, hey guys, love my friends, and like all that kind of stuff. None of that really changes. So like the mask she's wearing doesn't change at all, even her like online version. But the private entries 100% start changing. And I love that you can really see the difference in like who she presents herself as and who she actually is in little details, like the music choices she chooses to put. Because like in the live journal entries, like it's like mood and then music and then whatever you're gonna write. And if you notice, like the music she puts publicly is all this like pop top 10 hits kind of music, like crowd pleasy music, versus like her private music is like Rilo Kiley, and it's like not mainstream kind of band. So it's more like stuff you're into that you wouldn't like say out loud because you're afraid your friends would be like, that's dumb, that's lame. So like you kind of see like Sonia definitely has this split personality thing happening because of who
That
she
is
presents
relatable.
as. It's absolutely relatable, and I love how like angsty her like private entries are, which is like Linkin Park, and like she starts like going down this like angsty music rabbit hole.
I wish I knew the music because I just skipped over that part.
Listen to the playlist. You
Listen
will
to the
you will be
playlist.
like you'll get
I did it in
then.
order too, where you get like her public entry, private entry. It's like black and white, like the music. It's wild. Like if you go listen to it, it sounds
really
disjointed.
The journal entries. It reminded me of several people are typing.
Yeah, me too.
But I hate it when people switch point of views because it messes with me too much, and I have trouble focusing in general. So this separate point of view, I'm just like, no, I want to stay with this person. Stop pushing me over to that person. But that was a good touch, and it also helped me read easier.
Yeah. So I thought it was clever. It also keeps you in the time period too. So I like that element also.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to that. No details whatsoever.
There was one thing that struck me, not about something with Curtis and Coley, is when she comes home that one night and he's making the jewelry, and basically she finds out that the necklace that her mom was wearing when she committed suicide was one that Curtis made her. And I don't know, that was just that one got me. That, and afterwards she has this like whole internal monologue where she's talking about loneliness and being a trapped animal, and being scared that she'll lose herself too, and that she'll never find herself at all. And that was super relatable as well, because the fear of never being okay, or the fear of slipping into that super dark place and not coming back, is that's a really scary one.
Especially in the wake of your mother just doing that.
Exactly.
You know? And like as she fights, a lot of the stuff with her dad is very much fighting the fact that she's like her mother.
Yeah.
And I don't think she knows how to deal with that.
Exactly.
It's a lot, you know? So, yeah.
This book like attacked me from a lot of angles. So, because it's like, it was like my life back in the early 2000s and also my life now. Thanks a lot, Hayley. Damn you. Anyway.
I wish I knew life then. Like, I got a little bit of this stuff, but I was just too little to actually know it. So I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
You just like leapfrogged in technology, so like, don't worry. This is like primitive social media. That's all.
Yeah.
This is. That's all.
I joined at the very end of AIM.
I spent most of high school on AIM. It's good times.
College. I was 17 in 2001, so.
Basically, the thing is, Kaitlynn, like, we couldn't text because texting cost a fuckload of money.
No, I got that. I was still there.
So that was our texting.
Yeah. Well, texting became free first, right? Well, it doesn't matter, but I was still there in like call after 9, and texting is awful.
It was bad. Anyway, speaking of parents, one of the things that happens over summer is that Coley meets Sonia's mother, Tracy. So I'd like to take this time to unpack Sonia's mommy issues. Because they are vast and horrible, to be quite frank. I don't know. Do you want me to go first? Does anybody want to go first with Sonia's mommy issues?
Sonia's mom is one of those people that make me want to scream, and I don't even know, because they're the people that think you have to be one way and that's the only way to go through life. Any other, and the fact that they think that is bad enough, but then they put that on their children and give them impossible expectations to live up to a hollow image of what a person should be, rather than letting them be themselves. And that is very, it's a trap, and it's terrifying. And the fact that Sonia sits there and has to watch her little sister, go through this same process and be afraid for her as well. I mean, it's no wonder she's terrified to be herself, because she's been taught her entire life that being herself is not A, enough, or B, ever going to get her where she wants to go. So, fuck you, Tracy. That's all.
Can you give me a small recap of what Tracy did?
Oh, yes. I got you. Don't worry.
Thank you.
This is an example of what indoctrination actually looks like. So, Tracy, basically when Coley first meets Tracy, Tracy doesn't seem pleased that Coley's there, but Coley notices that she puts on this like fake, really fake smile and is pretending like everything's okay. She's one of those people who values politeness and appearances over actual kindness and actual affection. And you get the sense from Sonia that she's very like afraid to step out of line, and that it all kind of stems from her mother. And that becomes really, really apparent with Emma, her little sister, because she mentions to Coley that like sometimes that she's like, yeah, my mother, she had me like looking in front, like when I was little, I would like look in front of the mirror and like look for flaws. And she's like, and I see my little sister doing that. I know that came from my mother. And there's a scene where basically they're on the couch watching the movie, because Emma's obsessed with this movie, The Neverending Story, and watches it like a million times a day. And they're babysitting Emma, and they're talking, and something happens where like Sonia is basically like coaching her how to lie. And the little sister says something. She's like, oh, have you watched this? Is this the first time you're watching this movie today? And Emma's like, no. And Sonia's like, that's bad. You need to learn how to lie better. And like she jokes with her, but like she says to Coley later, she's like, that's the only way she's going to survive my mother. So like it's awful. So she's like trying to protect her little sister from like becoming what she was forced to become. And I call this perfect girl syndrome, because her mother seems like the type of person who's extremely controlling and has a concept in her brain for what a daughter is supposed to look like, behave. She's supposed to be quiet and not talk. And like Sonia explains all of these things to like Coley, and like it's supposed to be do feminine things like dance and date the alpha male at school and you know, just take whatever affection you get and just don't step out of
She's
line.
the type of person to have a children should be seen and not heard poster. And
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was Sonia's childhood. Like she mentions, she's like, the reason my mother threw me into dance is so that I would get all that energy out, so I wouldn't be so talkative and like things like that.
Yep.
But I want to mention the dollhouse thing that's going on, which is like another way you can really see this very clearly right off the bat. And Sonia makes the comparison way later in the book, but like it's right here in the beginning. When Coley first goes into her room, the description of the stuff in the room, there's like a canopy bed, ballerina pink bedspread. She's like, this room is not what I expected now that I know who you are. So it's like very clear that like her mother staged all of that because it looks like a dollhouse. Like it's got all these pretty little things and like super feminine. And Coley's like, this doesn't match the person that I know. Her, italicized her. So it's very, very clear her mother is super controlling in her life. And for Sonia, she's also a child of divorce and gets along mostly with her dads, like bio dad and then stepdad. But she doesn't see them often because like her mother is controlling her and keeps her most of the time. So it's like so the fact that you brought up Coley feeling trapped, they are both trapped. They are just trapped in different ways. And I think that's what they're really bonding over is together, they're free to be themselves around each other. And that once you get a taste of that, it's just, that's the ultimate drug. There's no going back from that once you know what that's really like. Yeah. So Tracy puts Sonia in this position where she's surviving and not living her life. And
exactly.
Yeah, the tragedy of it is really Emma because like Sonia sees it happening right in front of her eyes with Emma. Now that she knows what all of that really was about, it's just she's like, I'm trying my best to stop it. But Sonia doesn't know how to like set boundaries. Like, and it's difficult when you're the minor and you're like, how do you set boundaries with your sole caregiver? Like, you know.
Even as an adult, it's difficult.
Right. Yeah, and so it's very sad. Like that dynamic is really sad to watch Emma like be next in line for this bullshit. Really.
I protect little Emma.
Yeah, that was one of the like great tragedies in the book. Was just that this kid is going to be going through exposed to the same stuff Sonia was, and you're just, well, that sucks.
I feel like it's not uncommon. This is traditional family values crap to the extreme, you know. So, but on a completely different note, let's get off that and talk about something happy. Let's talk about the Post-it note. Let's talk about the Post-it note and the live journal entry. Let's talk about that. I could not believe she actually posted that. When I was reading it, I'm like, this is a private entry. This is a private entry.
I know, right? And it wasn't. I was like, this haiku is so gay.
I literally wrote in my book, oh my God, she actually posted this.
Hold on, what does it say?
All right. Well, okay, let's set up. Do you remember how we got to the Post-it note entry, Bree?
Do I remember anything?
Oh, she's asking me.
Sorry.
To recap for Kaitlynn?
I apologize.
And I'll read the entry when we get there.
When they were babysitting Emma, basically, long story short, Sonia goes to the bathroom. She doesn't feel well. And then when Coley comes to check on her, she is like, yeah, I just don't feel well, blah, blah, blah. And so Coley's like, all right, I'll leave. But before she does, she goes back and grabs some Post-its and writes her AIM messenger name on it.
Her handle.
Her handle. And then slips it under the bathroom door where Sonia is and then leaves. And then later on, Sonia posts a live journal entry, which is a haiku poem about the Post-it note, and she does it publicly.
Yes. And also, to be fair, she was drunk.
Yes.
When she was in the bathroom and like throwing up. And Coley also like left her water and she's like, here's my digits.
Yeah, she's like,
AIM. And there's some water on the side table. I gotta go.
She's like, here, I left you water. So she's taking care of her.
So that's important because it's just, okay. I'm going to read the haiku And then the first few lines that Coley writes in the next chapter, because it's all perfect. Okay. So the journal entry says, oh my God. Actually, let's read the whole thing because it's pretty gay. Okay. Mood, poetic. Music, Lover's Spit by Broken Social Scene.
I love that song, by the way. It's one of my faves. Go ahead.
Post-it, bolded. Here's the poem. Little yellow square. Secret slipped under the door. Drunk on you and me. And then Coley. What does it mean? That's all I can think, over and over, skipping in between the few instantly memorized lines of Sonia's poetry. What does it mean?
It means
Why is that so real?
Yeah, I think I also was like, wait a minute, that's public?
Yeah.
It was public. Yeah, I couldn't believe she did that. And then just like Coley's immediate gay panic was the best. Because I'm like, that's so just what it is. Because like she's like, well, she was drunk. Is that a play on words? Is she being literal? Like, what is it? What does it all mean? She became the meme before there were memes.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Man. And I like there's a couple of things in this section that I liked, and that was that Coley calls Sonia a girl made up of lots of questions and few answers.
Yeah.
Which is very accurate. And then I love that Sonia likes that Coley gets all of her references. Like, that's something I related to as well. Because, like, when you're in that, like, getting to know you phase and you realize that you connect those bits, and it just feels, if it is a drug, you do be getting high off that shit.
It's true. When somebody else gets your references, it's just, again, because it's like, you see me.
Exactly.
Kind of thing, you know?
Yep.
Okay. Should we pause and wait for Kaitlynn?
Yeah.
She had to go get the dog. Future Kaitlynn, edit this out.
I'm trying so hard and just things get so crazy.
I'm very sorry.
Oh, this
but
is
speaking
so much editing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Speaking of animals, not actually. I'm surprised there were no animals. We're gonna hop on over to the barn party.
Let's not bring up the lack of animals, okay? Someone needs to have a dog.
We're sorry, Kaitlynn.
Sorry?
At least a cat. Come on.
Why is there no barn cat? Thought you guys were in the sticks.
There's a barn cat. They just didn't mention it.
Maybe Hayley's not a cat lesbian. Who knows? I'm not.
I'm going to ask her.
I have so many questions for her. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. So in the barn party, many things happen. But one thing that happens that's I think is important is we meet Faith for the very first time. And this is somebody who is a year older than Sonia and is a dancer also. She seems like when you first meet her, she's like too cool for school. And like I immediately started getting queer vibes from her based on the way Sonia was like speaking to her.
Uh-huh.
Almost like Faith has gaydar and she's like, girl, I see you. And Sonia, she's mad about that.
Because Sonia warns Coley to stay away from Faith but for two reasons. One, she's jealous, and two, she's like, the gay is contagious, basically.
Oh yes, that's why you get it.
So she's like, so you shouldn't hang around with her because she's one of those girls. And I'm like, Sonia, you're one of those girls.
Oh my god. Internalized homophobia is a hell of a drug. I will say that.
It is.
And I felt so bad for Coley because anytime she said shit like that, just that in like internalized homophobia stuff, like, oh man, that's so real too. When you're like,
it hurts, man.
That hurts, man. I thought we were friends. What the fuck? Why you gotta be a bigot?
I thought we were getting somewhere, and I thought that we, the fact that you think that is just crushing. But that's like you said, Faith. It is. Faith sees right through Sonia, and to Sonia, that's a threat. So, you know, she can't be having that. And of course, Trent is going to ruin everything again with the absinthe.
Oh my god!
When he busts in with his lighter.
Classic male who's like, I know what to do.
I know
almost
what to
sets
do.
the barn on fire like a
Yeah,
fucking
Coley
idiot.
like saves everybody with her quick thinking.
Yeah,
and
he's an asshole.
That leaves Sonia pulls Trent away to go dance, and then Faith and Coley have a little talk, and then you get the whole Sonia looking over and being jealous and mad. And it's like, oh, she does. Like, I've had those moments where it's like, oh, she does care. And then, but it's still a fucked up situation.
It's definitely a fucked up situation.
Anyway.
But, yeah, so ultimately, the barn party gets busted by the popo, and so everybody runs away. And long story short, they end up like waiting in a sea of poison oak.
Yes.
And
this is the
poison oak. Huh?
This is the West Coast.
It's the West Coast.
Poison ivy on the West Coast.
I grew up on the East Coast. For me, it's poison ivy. Anywho, so of course, what do gal pals do? They have to put techno on each other and then share one bed afterwards. Obviously, like I was reading this whole thing and I'm like, what in the AO3 am I reading right now?
It's like this is every fan fiction I've ever read.
just
Hayley's read fan fiction. That's all I've got to say.
Absolutely, and I will say, people who have read and written fan fiction write the best kind of scenes like this because it's just the best. And but like, oh my god, that whole scene where but it's also like she nails the torture element of all of that really well.
Mm-hmm.
Because
you're really like this scene.
Tell us why, Kaitlynn.
I don't. It's just the gay panic. Probably because it reads like fan fiction.
Yeah.
No.
She's like It's like she's touching me. Oh my god, she's touching me, and it's just like that. Oh.
But no, like the fact that she was trying to get out of the house so much.
Oh my god!
All she wanted to do was leave and get out of there. And then she's like, "Shit!" She's knocking down every reason I handle have. This.
Yeah, that's Sonia. She really wanted to share that bed with Coley.
But like when we're in the techno stage, where they're doing the lotion, just being a baby gay. And not knowing if your crush is also a baby gay adds another layer to all of that. Because you're like, can I react to this? Can I not react to this? Like, it adds more psychological torture than it would normally. If they were straight people, either opposite sex or same sex. Like, there's another layer in there of just like emotional torture that's going on. And like, Coley's inner monologue really nails all of that. And I appreciate that because it's so real.
It's just because Hayley's been there and she knows how to
knows how
to write.
Yeah. But like, damn, that was just straight up torture. And then the bed scene. Okay, the bed scene.
The bed scene. Jesus
Was
Christ.
Sonia awake or not?
Yes.
Take a poll.
Yes.
I'm like, I sleep like the dead. Was she awake during the cuddling is what I'm asking.
She was awake.
She had to be.
I agree.
She just would never admit it, and she knows that the only way that she can get close to Coley in this moment, in this circumstance, is if she is asleep.
Okay, so I think she was asleep, and she woke up like that. But then she's just like, I like it here. I'm just gonna go back to sleep without...
Yeah. That's the second option. That's a good option, too.
That's a really good question.
There's no way that bitch didn't know.
I've done that before. I woke up and I'm like, okay, I just stay here like this.
There is no way.
Stay here. That happens with me and my golden dude.
Oh I love Kinja. That is so accurate.
God.
Kinja insists. Kinja is my golden doodle.
Oh, no.
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that this scene really, really got to me because I literally, my senior year of high school, I was that bitch better never watch this podcast. I was totally in love with my best friend, and I would spend the night over her house, and we would be in the same bed, and I would just be laying there like, I'm not gay. I just want to hold her. It's okay. That's not gay, right?
It's what gal pals do.
She's right there. I just want to, no, can't do that. Torture. And then she would do things like show me her shoulder muscles because she was a pitcher, because of course we played softball, and one of them was her pitching arm was the muscles on that side were bigger, and so she would be like, hey, would you rub this
Techno.
you know what techno but like icy hot,
Yeah.
whatever on, and then she would be like, it's okay because you're not gay.
Yeah.
And then we ended up to both be queer. So anyway, I related to this scene.
I related to this in the opposite way, where like had to share a bed with like a crush for like sports reasons, and just being like, I can't move at all when I'm sleeping because this is a straight person and that would not be cool. And like so then I couldn't sleep. So it was the worst.
Well, no, that's what I did because I couldn't like actually reach out and nothing like we didn't get to cuddle.
Yeah, it's just like the horror because they're just like, God, no.
Mm-hmm. It's awful.
It is awful. It's an extra layer present in queer stuff, that the queer experience. That's why we're all need therapy.
Yeah.
And fan fiction.
And we need the AO3.
Fan fiction is therapy sometimes.
It sure is. All right, so
Slightly off topic, but did you see they're like making a bill to like not like allow AO3 or something like that?
I've been waiting for that. Yeah, I've been waiting.
LGBTQ stuff on the internet, basically. Just weird. Anyway, let's continue with the actual gay stuff.
Well, we're pivoting away from the actual gay stuff, and we're going to talk about another set of meeting the parents, which is when the immediate after the sharing the one bed, of course, you have to go meet your future father-in-law. So Sonia goes and meets Curtis, and up until this point, Sonia's only heard about Curtis through Coley's point of view, which is mostly like, oh, he's not. She doesn't even call him dad. She calls him by his first name. And is like, he doesn't know what he's doing.
He's not her dad. He's her dad, but like, he's not her dad.
Right. Yeah. And then that's the way Hayley's showing that. But like, when Sonia gets there, she's like, I don't understand what you've been saying. Like, he's trying. Like, he offers to make them pancakes. He makes small talk with her. And like, he wants to be involved. But like, Coley is like, no, like shutting him out, basically hardcore. So, like, Sonia's like, the math's not mathing here from what you're telling me and what he's showing me. And also, I have to say, the excuse of, like, why they were late or whatever, Sonia says, that we were playing Capture the Flag. Is that the new Gals Being Pals? Because that was a great line.
I'm gonna use that.
We were playing Capture the Flag. This just means Gals Being Pals. I love it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Use your imagination.
Indeed.
The flag equals feels.
Sure, Kaitlynn.
Sure, that's what it means.
Sure, that's what it means. Okay, and so like after Sonia kind of like delivers that line, which is the book says she continues smoothly. So I just love that line. Basically Sonia stays and they like her and her dad like bond, and Coley's kind of witnessing this, and then she just says like the saddest thing ever, but it's just adorable. as she's watching this, she says, "Is this what it's like when you have a girlfriend? Do you just get to grow up and move in with them and wake up with them and eat breakfast with them and be
Mhm.
happy?" Like, that was the saddest fucking
It
line
was.
at that point in the book. But like, there's many an instance in this book where Hayley drives home the point that like representation really matters, and like seeing normal people out in life just being gay and having it not be a big deal is everything, because like this little baby gay is like that can't even think that she can have these things, because she's like, well, you're no being gay like is not the norm, and like has never seen a healthy gay relationship. So she's like, I didn't even know I could have this, basically, until it's like happening in front of her, and she's like, wow, could I have something like this? I didn't even think that was possible. Like, it's just sad and it's fucked up, and that's why representation matters.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. That's why
And
this
queer.
I was
why
going
this
to say
book is
not why
important.
we're queer, because, you know, we just are, but
Never mind. I'm not gonna say anything. All right, cool. So let's move on to really queer shit. Let's talk about the train track kisses and the
oh
olive
my
juice. That happened.
goodness, the payoff.
But
But
it's
yeah.
messed up.
What's messed up?
The thing that happens afterwards is messed up.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes. The preceding
Extra
rest of the
messed up.
book is fucked up until the end.
We're
But-
gonna revel in the good part for a second, and then we'll
Okay, I'll let you
go
guys
to the
do that.
depression. So yeah. Well, it's basically Sonia is about to get hit by a train, and
Yeah.
the Coley's like, hey bitch, get off the tracks, and has to tackle her ass. And then they end up in the grass, and gay shit happens. They have a chat, a real deep chat as well. So there's that. But I like that there's a champagne analogy, because we had champagne show up earlier in the book, and then it comes back in the form of I'm a shaken champagne bottle exploding everywhere.
Oh yeah. That's good. Yeah.
It was very good. I liked that description and analogy, because it really, like, you know, that feeling when you first kiss somebody and there's that crazy rush of it's happening and then it just explodes. So 10 out of 10 description.
Yeah,
And
emotive description is just,
it is.
it's very impressive for a first novel.
And basically what has happened is that Coley has told Sonia about her mom. And she had been kind of waiting for Coley to reveal that information for some time now. And so she feels like she's gotten beyond a wall with Coley, and Coley has let her in, which makes what happens next even more fucked up. But it's not just that, it's that the way that Sonia reacts to Coley letting her in, i.e. the kissing and getting closer and the intimacy. Coley says that she sees Sonia, like the real Sonia is not just in glimpses right now. She's getting her nonstop in this time.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is both lovely and sad. And that's when olive juice happens, because Sonia says, I'm really happy that you're here with me, and that I get to know you, and that you trust me enough to tell me. And then it's just kind of super sweet and gay until Sonia says, hey, olive juice. And Coley's like, the fuck? What? And so she slows it down and says, I love juice. I love you, is what it means.
Yeah.
And that makes Coley laugh, and it would make me laugh too. I'm going to say that is some shit that I would say. So, yeah.
So I got distracted for like a good 5 minutes during this scene, trying to figure out the olive juice thing and like saying it slow. And trying to figure out the right pronunciation of it, and then also getting distracted by Olive's juice.
Whoever said that you weren't
Kaitlynn.
ADHD is insane. Anyway, it's so cute. It's like finally Sonia's being super real and saying the things that she wants to say. It's stuff that she would say in her private journal, but she's saying it to Coley finally. So it's like, hallelujah.
I want to point out though in this scene, their location matters. So this train track area has become their private spot throughout the summer. And so I think that's important because it's like their bubble. So like in their private bubble, they can drop the masks, drop the facade, and they learn to trust each other in these private moments away from the eyes of literally everybody else in this really small town. And throughout the book, Sonia mentions, and I think in her live journal, like obviously the live journal, a couple of times that like about, you mentioned like she wanted to know about Coley's mom, but wouldn't push her. And she says, or writes very explicitly, like she's like, I need to earn her trust. So Sonia understands that she has to get Coley to trust her. And so when that happens, it's like, wow, she trusts me. That's huge. So yeah, it makes the betraying later super fucked up because like Sonia's aware of like how big this is and that this is a trust issue. And it's easy for us, the audience, to get really sucked into this moment with them and be like, oh, it's so great. But like, if you take a step back, you're like, yeah, it's great because they're alone. And like, there's no need to have a mask, but if there's an audience, then the masks come back up and this moment doesn't happen. So it's like, it's fragile is what I'm saying. Like it's very honest and it's great, but it's fragile at the same time because it's happening in their little Eden that's not connected to their world that they're living in.
Absolutely. Ugh.
Yeah, so back in reality.
Back to reality. Oh.
Back to reality. So the betraying happens, or Coley finds out. What?
The betraying happens.
You keep saying back to reality, and then my brain went to the TikTok trend song thingy. Or
mine went to Eminem.
No.
Yeah.
No, in my brain it was singing back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity.
Yeah, that's the Eminem song.
That's Eminem.
Because I only know it from social media. Sorry, continue.
That's okay. So at the kickback party, that's what it's called. I forget what the fuck it was actually about. It doesn't matter. Coley gets betrayed in multiple ways. First of all, Sonia drops the bomb that she's going to dance camp like tomorrow. And didn't, like, again, in their private bubble, she could have been like, hey, I need to tell you this. Doesn't tell her this. And she's like leaving in a week. It is bullshit. Right.
I was like, how are they going to do this book? This is the middle of the book.
It's all right. The book still happens. So Sonia's going to dance camp, did not tell Coley anything at all. She was just like, I assumed all my friends know, which is, oh man,
bullshit is what that is.
I was getting really pissed off at this girl at this point. And then the worst part is that Coley finds out through somebody else that Sonia let it drop about her mother committing suicide. And she finds it out from somebody else, not Sonia. And she's like, well, there's only one person I told. And wonderful. So like, it's a giant betrayal of just trust. It's not so much the I need to be in the closet to be with you thing, which again, being somebody's secret is never great. But like, Coley's like not fully out herself yet. And so it's like, they're kind of in the same place when it comes to that. But this is actually just like person to person trust betrayal. So it's bigger than that. I don't know if you have any comments on that. I have a few more things about this whole party that I found
interesting.
This party pisses me off.
Yeah, this party's terrible.
Yes.
All right. So in the middle of this party, basically when Coley's like, fuck the shit, I'm out. Sonya's like, no, come with me, come with me. Let's recreate the magic. And basically takes her into her room and starts like force feeding her the strawberries and cream liqueur or whatever the fuck it was. And while she's doing this,
of alcohol in this book.
I know, they're very weird. It's very strange. And the fact that this girl has such the girl clearly has problems because she's always drinking and she's like underage in America.
Well,
and
like,
it's very.
What happened to the boxed wine? That had to have been a thing at that point, right?
Was it?
No, this is like stuff that we did when I was a kid. Like we were just stealing, because like
she's just stealing.
You're like going to your parents' liquor, and you're like, what are they not gonna miss?
Right, exactly. It's like my mom got this
weird
as a gift.
Shit.
Yeah, the weird
peppermint schnapps. So
right,
you get the weird shit.
They're not gonna miss.
Exactly. I mean, that's what we did when we were kids.
Yeah, but she's like she drinks a lot, and it's kind of apparent that she's got problems. And in this scene, I think this scene is really important. She's monologuing to Coley, and not really. She's like not hearing what Coley's saying or like paying attention. She's just monologuing her inner thoughts because she's already like trashed. And the reason she drinks is pretty apparent. She says here, like basically she's like feeding Coley some of this strawberries and cream stuff, and Sonya says, this is the sacred healing drink of ancient times. Each time, basically you swallow, it'll like turn you into gold and all this stuff. And she says, your old self, the one you're stuck in, it will melt away with each sip. And you'll get closer and closer to the person you're meant to be. And so it's like, this girl is developing a drinking problem because she has all this internalized homophobia that's been placed on her by her mother, and she thinks her friends, which some of them, Trent, sure, are imposing this like idea of what a woman's supposed to be onto her. And so like it's her coping mechanism. And so she's like, you drink too, and we'll just go back to just being happy, and like we can escape into our little champagne dream kind of thing if we just get drunk. And like Coley's like, no, I'm over this, basically. Like then Sonya tries to get her to dance in her room, because of course you leave your own party and go dance with your gal pal like in your room. That's great. And Trent catches them basically, and or like and like yells at her, and then she tries to leave. And then Sonya's like, fuck, I have to amp up my heterosexuality. And so
gross. So Coley, that's all I have to say.
Gross. Coley catches them about to get her, Sonya and Trent, in the laundry room 5 seconds from fucking, and it's really disturbing.
No, thank you.
Like, no, thank you. I'm glad we didn't hear the end of that or where that was actually headed.
No, me
thank
too.
you, Hayley, because ew.
It's like
just ew.
Good just reason ew. We're following Coley. Yeah. So that I don't like it.
No, I don't like it at all. It was fucked up and super. It's just like Sonya was just very much on the. She's again acting outward and overcompensating for her own feelings. It's almost like, okay, I hate to say this, but it's almost like what Trent does in a way, because Trent can't deal with responsibility, so he just or feelings, and he just acts out his feelings on other people or just blames other people for his own shortcomings. Whereas Sonya kind of like, through her acting out in her self-preservation, ends up hurting other people as well. But she's self-aware she's doing it, and Trent isn't. Like, she hates herself, and she doesn't want to, like, she hates herself is really the bottom line. She does not love herself, which is a big problem and relatable. It's like loving ourselves is like one of the hardest things. Again, nobody teaches you how to do this, but like it's hard to love you for who you are, because like we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people and like what other people want us to be. And so Sonya's super fucked up because of all of that. So it's like you can't blame her, but like when you're in Coley's head, it's like you're hurting Coley, you're hurting me. Like, this is super fucked up. But it's self-preservation, and she's scared and panicking and doesn't know what to do. She only knows like, well, this is what I'm supposed to be. Why can't I just be like this? You know?
Yep.
So
it's very sad to watch someone self-destruct like that.
yeah. And then poor Coley kind of ends up in that situation with Alex when he's being nice to her. And she kisses him. Any thoughts about that?
Yeah. Listen, Coley, girl, I get it. You were like, all right, well, he's here. He's nice to me. I guess I'll just try. Guess what? Nope. Gay.
She's 100% homosexual, not 62%.
Which is, girl.
You and that 62%, Theora.
I'll never let it go.
What is the 62%?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Heartstopper.
Oh, Jesus.
It became a meme later, like 62% homosexual. It's like the character takes a BuzzFeed quiz. It's like, am I gay? And his answer is 62% homosexual. He turns out to be bisexual, but like, so it's on point. But like, it's just like it became a meme for a while after that came out.
That's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
so
no, Coley done got the 100.
She did.
Because if she was gonna like get with anybody male in this book, the only option was really Alex,
who's also maybe queer.
Yes, I think Alex is a unabashed bisexual myself.
I hope so. A normalized bisexual men, please.
Or, maybe he doesn't want a label. You never know.
You never know. So, unfortunately, at this party, while she was dancing with Sonia, Coley ditches her jacket, her mom's jean jacket. And so when she gets the fuck out of there, a few days later, the next day, she's like, oh, fuck, yeah, I need to go get that. That's missing. Like, and I need that because fuck everybody else. Like, that's mine. That betraying bitch is not going to get to keep this. Affectionate. Because, like, she's still like, fuck her, but I love her kind of thing. So Curtis is like, you don't seem okay. Let me drive you. We'll go get dinner. And how about you go do your errand and then we'll go to dinner together because I want us to start creating our own memories and creating our own like traditions and stuff and being a family kind of thing. And Coley's like, yeah, or whatever, I guess. I just want my jacket. So she goes there and I have to find the chat. This made me so angry because it was just like the insanity that comes with like straight girl crushes where like they gaslight you. And basically like Sonia pretends like nothing. Again, she's like overcompensating and just like playing up the heterosexual perfect girl persona so much that she's basically like gaslighting Coley and being like, nothing happened. I don't know what you're talking about. I was always going to dance camp. I didn't need to tell you. You're my friend. You should just know that kind of stuff. And Coley ends up leaving this exchange and goes home and she's like, I can't think about being crazy. Like she starts thinking she's crazy because the girl's just gaslighting her. And she's like, I know I'm not. I know what happened was real. And it's like, it's one of those, like, it feels like a straight girl crush kind of scenario that she's having where it's like, was this real? Am I crazy? Like, is she crazy? Who's crazy in this scenario, you know?
I hate that feeling.
It's awful. It's uniquely a queer thing that's just...
the denial of reality, and I don't know. It just is... I think it was also really a really big thing for that time period too, because it was getting a little bit easier to be out in public, but it was still, you still had more, you could still get the shit beat out of you easily for being out in public.
especially small town, bumfuck nowhere America. Like, that's scary.
Yeah.
The Oberfeld decision didn't happen yet. Gay marriage was not legal yet. Like, so.
Yep.
But yeah, the gaslighting is what pissed me off. I was just.
Yep. Because like, she's denying it herself, but also saying, no, this didn't happen, Coley. Don't.
Correct. Right. It's one thing to deny it, because and that's what pissed me off about her betraying Coley by like telling about her mother. Because it's like, it's one thing to deny your trauma. It's a whole other thing to like shit on somebody else's, you know, or like share it without their permission. And that's kind of what she's doing here. She's making her feel like she's crazy when she's not, you know. It's just, I fucking hated that.
Yes, it's because she's not going to say it out loud, but as long as Coley is okay with things not actually naming what's going on and it happening when no one's looking, then they're cool. But the moment Coley's like, no, it's fucking Sonia's got to shut that down. And she does it in the most cruel way.
Yeah. Cruel is the perfect descriptor. It's just,
I don't like it.
I don't like it. I understand why. I just hate it. And
and I like that the embarrassment hits me with a bewildered rush. I want to protest. I want to fight for, I don't know, us. But she's saying there isn't any us, that there never was an us, that I'm imagining it. I'm not. And that's when she's like, I know you told your friends about my mom.
Yeah, because that's real.
Really fucking awful.
Yeah, like, fuck you. Ugh.
Which Sonia's just like silent, and then Coley's like, are you even going to apologize for betraying my trust? And then she's just like, nope, just silent. And that's when I love that Coley says, you're making really shitty choices. And she just tells it.
Yeah. No, she is. And like, before that too, we don't really talk about it, but like the okay, so like Sonia and Trent had a thing or whatever, and Trent thinks they still have a thing even though they don't. I'm pretty sure he's hooking up with Brooke, and he thinks he owns Sonia because she's like the prettiest girl at school or their friend group or whatever the fuck. So he feels like he owns her or whatever. And so Coley picks up on how she behaves around him immediately, and the way she just excuses his behavior, his shitty behavior. And Coley very much points out, she's like, you're choosing to behave like this. Like, you do realize that, right? Like, yeah. Sonya's like, no, this is what love is. You just take what you can get, or like whatever. And like, it's whatever. Like, boys are like this. This is what love is. And Coley's like, no. You're like choosing to like go along with all this stuff. And so like, this was like really just the big breaking point for her. She's like, you as a whole are just making really bad decisions, and you're going to regret this shit one day. And I love me too much to deal with this. So I'm going to go.
Yeah. Fuck this shit, I'm out is basically what Coley said.
Well, Coley really learns learns how to love herself, which is, you can't truly love another person until you really love yourself, honestly.
Yeah, she's like, only a really awful person doesn't apologize when they've done something like that, and she's like, it's unforgivable.
Yeah, it definitely is. But speaking of bad choices, while Sonia's at dance camp, Coley meets Blake.
Blake.
I thought Blake was fun, especially like when they first meet, and she's like, you can steal that champagne, I don't give a fuck. And she's like, I don't know. They're kind of a mess together, but...
So, did Blake know that Coley was stealing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't give a shit. She's like, whatever. You don't pay me enough to give a fuck about this place. So, like, she gave me those vibes. She's like, I don't give a fuck. See ya. Yeah, she didn't care. Because she brings it up later. Like, they have the conversation. And Blake's like, whatever. But that whole thing basically starts where it's like, gaydar, first of all, is how that starts. And Coley's in this position where she's like, well, Sonia's never gonna love me, like, for real, because she just threw a bomb on my life and fuck that. So I need to just move on because being hung up on her is only going to hurt me in the long run. But and it's like knowing that is one thing. But when you're emotionally not ready for that, it leads to poor decision making that ends up hurting other people. And Coley is kind of learning this lesson the hard way with Blake because they start kind of like getting together a little bit. And like Coley's just like, all I can think about is Sonia. And like, I don't even know if I really like this girl. I'm just trying to be nice. And in the end, she's like, I'm just going to hurt her. And because I'm not mentally and emotionally here, basically. Yep. And it's like coping when you're not really ready to like, coping takes time, no matter what it is that you lost. And Coley up until this point has lost a lot. You can say that she's probably lost the two people who mean the most to her, have ever meant the most to her at this point in her life, her mom and Sonia. And, that kind of loss takes time, for you to process and heal. Cause it's like a big giant wound that like, it needs time to just heal. And she's just like rushing into this thing with Blake. And it's like to try and get the healing to happen faster. And it's like, that's not how it works, dear Coley. Yeah. Not how it works. You can't rush the healing process, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's just such a human thing to do, to just try to push yourself through the grief and the pain to get to the result. And you're like, listen, if I do this, maybe I will just magically, everything will be okay and glued back together. But
yeah,
and no, it's still there staring you in the face after you realize.
Like, I relate to Coley in this. I've been in this position, and it's not fun for anyone. And Coley learns the big lesson, which is like, jumping into another relationship doesn't fix anything when it came to like relationships falling apart, and particularly when they're not your fault. When it really was the other person had their shit to figure out, and it really, like, it's not Coley's fault that it fell apart. It is 100% the other person, and it's really hard to deal with that and acknowledge that, especially, I don't know, it's very hard. And so sometimes it just takes a lot of time, and you have to just like learn to love yourself and like learn that like other people loving you is not, that's not the ultimate validation. Like you loving you, and just, you gotta love you first. And Coley kind of gets there towards the end of the book. And like, this was just kind of like the experiment of, can I just relationship my way out of this? And the answer is no.
No, honey, you gotta go through it.
No.
It don't work it don't work like that.
It don't work like that. But one relationship where it does work out is her and her dad, because they've through the summer while Sonia's away, they clear the air, which is really great because Coley's kind of been avoiding like talking about her mom, and avoiding really like letting her dad in. But slowly they start like going to dinner at the hibachi place together, and like Coley was kind of even afraid of that because she's like, I think her mom's Japanese, and I think that was why they were mentioning this. And she's like, this reminds me of mom's food, and like, and it must remind my dad of that. Maybe that's why he goes here. And they finally have the conversation where they like hash out their past, where like he really tells her what happened, and why he wasn't involved. And it's because he was like, I was waiting for your mom to come back, and she never did. Like, I didn't give up. Well, I mean, he did, but he's like, I didn't give up on like loving you guys. I was just like waiting for her to sort her shit out and then come back to me. And he says some line where he's like, oh, I think I noted it because I really liked it. Where he said, one second. Oh, nope, that's not it. He said something where it was like, if I sit around, basically where it was like, if I could do it all again, like I learned that I need to like actively do something and not wait for things to come to me, kind of thing. So it's like the big lesson that Coley needs to learn for like the Sonia stuff to get resolved was here, because the tragedy of that was, he's like, it seems like her mother still loved her father because she wore the necklace the day she died, that her dad made her. she kept the jean jacket, which Coley finds out it was Curtis's jacket. Her mom took it and just kept it and kind of wore it she wore it so much. It was like, she mentioned that like, oh, the jean jacket is like, it's like thin because it was so worn all the time. So like her mother like clearly like still loved her dad, but like whatever happened, neither of them made an action to resolve it. And so it ended up with them being split apart for like 14 years. And they never got to resolve that. And so I think that's a lesson that Coley takes to heart and is like, yeah, I don't want that to be me exactly. And like either consciously or subconsciously, that's what drives her back to Sonia.
Basically. And there's the part where she's talking to him about Sonia and how, and like breaking down because of the grief, and she's finally telling Curtis pretty much what's going on. And then he says something that I was like, holy shit, you're being a dad, Curtis. Fuck yeah. Good job. Because he says, you were the good part of whatever you had with her. Curtis says fiercely, yeah. You were the good part of everything, sweetie. We can't control what people do, how they betray us, or even why. How they leave our lives. So many people are running scared, and sometimes they run back to us and earn back our trust, but the ones that don't come back or won't work to earn back what they lost from us, we have to learn how to let them go. I needed to read that in that. I needed to read that. Thanks, Hayley.
Thank you, Curtis. Hydrate for Lesbian Jesus, everyone.
Hydrate for Lesbian Jesus. I started crying when I read that. I don't cry when I read books, ever. Curtis
Kaitlynn,
is
you're drinking so intensely right now.
I know, your eyes were so
You're like...
You were really hydrating for Lesbian Jesus.
I'm very dehydrated. I need Lesbian Jesus.
Don't we all?
We all need Lesbian Jesus.
You know who needs Lesbian Jesus the most, though? Sonia does. So let's hop on over to her live journal entries.
Sweet Jesus.
Oh my God. From dance camp. Oh my God. Okay. First of all, why
does she have this much time to write, though?
Oh, she explains it. Basically, she's... So, brief overview of what's happening at dance camp. She's fucking up royally because her brain is back in bumfuck nowhere with Coley and the way she fucked up. And so she's fucking up dance camp to the point where, like, her dance coach tells her mom. And so she takes all these extra lessons and, like, basically just, like, hides from everybody because she's like embarrassed that she like used to be the star and now she's not the star. And she kind of does what Trent does where she's like, this is all Faith's fault. And it's like, girl, no, you done fucked up. So she's doing this at night and she like sneaks into the computer room because remember, you don't have you can't do this on your phone. There's no laptop. She has to go to the computer lab on site at night when nobody else is using it, and she's like journaling at night. This is what's happening. And so she's flitting between like her overly enthusiastic fake shit of like, yeah, I'm killing it for her friends on the public entry, and then just like angsty emo as fuck on her private entries. My favorite one is the one where she has like the Linkin Park Numb song, because I love that song, first of all. And then okay, then she's basically being like, wow, this is all Coley's fault, I can't believe this shit. And she's mad about Faith because Faith is living her best gay life right in front of Sonia's face. And Sonia's pissed about that because that's what she wants and feels she cannot do. And so she says in her live journal entry about Faith, I wouldn't be so proud if I were her. I heard her mother doesn't even speak to her anymore. Her parents split up because of her. Her dad took her side and her mom. Love isn't very unconditional, no matter what they say. I learned that when my mom and dad split up. A family breaks and it doesn't leave a scar. It's a wound. Sometimes it doesn't heal. So, like, the thing she's really afraid of is, like, losing everything, right? And, like, even though her mom is the worst, she's like, she's still my mom and I don't want to lose her. I don't want to lose, like, seeing my sister Emma. What if they take Emma away from me? What if my dads leave me? Because I'm like Faith. Like, I'm different and I'm gay and they can't deal with that. So like it's not so it is the stuff that her mom's imposing on her, but she's like, if I do reveal that I can't be, it's like Beatrice from Warrior Nun. If I can't be the thing you're trying to force me to be, you know, I'll never get love from my family. I'll never, like, they'll leave me. And like, that's what she's really worried about. That's the thing. It's not that she's afraid of like who she is. She's afraid of when that gets out of the bag, she'll lose it all. And she, you know, kind of thing.
She doesn't want to be the thing that splits her family up, and just because she can't control her gayness.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the character is named Faith because I think Faith is the literal and representation of a leap of faith. Because for Sonia, she's seeing Sonia's on the cliff's edge, let us say. She is. She's got the feels. She's made out with the girl. Cat's out of the bag. She's on the cliff's edge. And on the other side, she sees Sonia, the person she could be. She's out, doesn't give a fuck, still has friends. Her family split up. Which, Sonia, girl, your family already split up. Like, what are you afraid of? And Sonia's got a dance girlfriend. And she's like, well, that could be me. But it's safer for me to be on this side and not take that leap quite yet. So like I think that Sonia's Faith is the temptation, right? She's the leap of faith. This is what I could be if I just do it.
Yep. Her name is Faith because you gotta have faith, faith.
Yeah, it's true. You have to have the faith that everything's going to be like, you know, that you're going to be okay in the end. Like you might go through some rough patches, but in the end, you'll be you and you are worthy of love, which is the point of the book.
Yes. I love that she went from Maneater Nelly Furtado to Numb Linkin Park.
That's what I'm saying. It's just
love it.
It's
you gotta listen to this playlist.
And then from Vanessa Carlton, 1,000 Miles to Chasing Cars.
I know that one. Fucking Chasing Cars.
Freaking Chasing Cars.
It's what was it's popular stuff that people love, and then it's how she's actually feeling, which is like
God, Chasing Cars is such a freaking emotional fuck around song.
Yeah, I can't listen to that song anymore.
Trauma.
Yes. It is a relationship
song. Take your word for it.
Yeah. All right. Any more about Sonia at dance camp?
No, I think you pretty much, you got it. You nailed that.
All right. So while Sonia is getting her cliff's edge on, Coley decides to, she's bonds with Curtis over the summer, and she decides to get a summer job working at the hibachi place. Because she wants to be distracted. Huh?
She needed, for sure.
Oh, well, first of all, she needs money, because don't we all? And she needed to get out of the house, meet people, and it's a place that her and her dad were starting to go to, and she's like, oh, this place is pretty nice, I like the vibes, like, yeah, let me get a new family, so work family. And they do this cute thing, the employees, where they do family dinner at the end of the day, if you work the evening shift, where the chef makes everybody food that you just eat family style, where you like share amongst each other, and that's when they like bond with each other. And I don't have notes in this section. You guys do?
I do.
All right, go for it.
So the really important part about this, besides the fact that Coley has like this thing in her life now that gives her something to do and somewhere to direct her energy, and you know, something that she's good at, because you can obviously tell from the how it's written that she really falls in with these people, and it is like one of those work family things, and she's good at her job, and she wants to be good at it. She enjoys the work, she enjoys having that purpose. And then during a family dinner at the end of the shift, her boss Kendrick's boyfriend Ty shows up, and the way that they are with one another just shows Coley what a loving queer relationship can be, and when it's just normal and accepted because nobody bats an eye. And Coley's like, anybody else see that? Interesting. And it's just the way that so Ty had brought mushrooms for Chef, and Chef is just like, oh, not special mushrooms, you know what I mean? Like they're like really fancy heirloom mushrooms or some shit. I don't know about mushrooms, but obviously they have this whole experience where obviously Ty has heard a lot about Coley, and so it just makes her feel so included, and to see this freaking them holding hands, just being normal at dinner, and everybody is just like chill. It just shows her what it can be.
This was my note. Ty and Kendrick, normalize it. Representation matters.
Yes.
Because yes, she's just like, she sees them hold hands, and then she's like, she's trying not to look, because again, you're just like, yay, but also I can't stare at you. It's such a gay reflex. It's just
wild. It's such wild.
Yeah, but like also she's like, she's like, I'm cool with this, but no, why does everybody else seem cool with it?
Yeah.
She's like, everybody else here seems cool with it. Like, what? That's
It's
a
like,
reality? Like,
this can be a thing.
This can be a thing. And you know what? It was the exact same thing as earlier when I forgot to mention.
With
Are you saying something, Kaitlynn?
With Faith.
Yes, with Faith. When Sonia watched Faith and Orion, what a name.
Yes.
Kiss,
Orion.
and she's like, oh shit. They look so beautiful. They look so right. Because fucking representation matters, guys.
Yes.
It just does.
I'm pretty sure that's like a common thing Theora writes, because I'm sure that that's in this book as well. I've borrowed books from Theora.
I don't think I wrote that in there.
I don't know, but I've seen it somewhere in one of the books that I took.
Oh, yeah, maybe it is that book, because it's not going to be in Big Swiss. Because they were queer, and they didn't give a flying fuck in that book. It was great, and that's why I love it.
Yeah. So,
Kaitlynn, what is your note? Please. There's a note in here. Say it.
I said I miss family breakfast. You know, when we used to eat together in Vancouver.
It's important bonding. Food bonding.
yes. Theora's eggs bonding.
Yes. I am Italian. Food and bonding. It means everything.
I make them like you now, but they're not the same.
Theora can make a poached egg with nothing.
Yeah, I sure can.
Except pure will.
I did it too.
You
All
did.
Right. I
It
did.
was a good
That's
egg.
all right. We will have eggs again one day. So unfortunately, we can't stay at family dinner with all those cool people that she works with. We have to.
I wish family dinner was longer.
I do too, and I wish we didn't have to go back to Sonia's really annoying friends, but we do.
Barf.
Because she gets invited to a party. It's okay. So I was Coley in the scene where like SJ finds her and she's like, "Oh, I want to invite you to a party," and Coley's like, "Does she know? Does she know?" Like, because who does this unless they're like, "I understand my friend's in love with you, and you guys are having problems."
Yeah.
You know, try to play matchmaker a little bit. And Coley's like, fuck that shit. I'm not going to go to a party. I'm not going to the party. I'm not going. And then she's like, I already knew before I biked home I was going.
Yeah.
I just love her.
SJ does explain to Coley about Sonia telling her about Coley's mom because she wanted to make sure her reaction was supportive and good enough. She didn't want to, she wanted to be there for Coley, and she knew that SJ had a unique viewpoint on that since SJ's sister had tried to commit suicide and survived. So SJ explains that that's why Sonia told her and that Brooke just happened to overhear it. And then that's how the
Frickin'
information
Brooke.
got out.
She's a
Yes.
pick-me. Because she knows
Frickin' Brooke.
Trent hates Coley, and she's like, let me spread this rumor. That's all it was. She's a pick-me.
She runs off and blabs to everyone about Coley's mom, which, why would that make anyone not like Coley? Like, she's dumb. Brooke is dumb. Just
Brooke is
saying.
dumb.
I mean, I know she's just trying to score points with Trent by being like, hey, Trent, guess what? But anyway, fuck that shit. I guess we're going to the party.
Ugh. Yeah, so we go to the party, and of course the gayest thing happens. Sonia like opens the door before Coley knocks or something ridiculous. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, so yeah, poor Coley can't like mentally like prepare herself to like, I'm just gonna walk in and I'll mingle and then I'll find her. Because her mission, Coley's mission, is to talk to Sonia, because she's like, fuck this like AIM shit. She's like, we need to talk in person because you can't hide from me when we're in person. So yeah. So she like immediately sees her and then is like, my brain is blank. What is my name?
Where do I live? What is going on?
What is going on? Fuck.
I'm
What's
gay.
Coley's brain? I'm gay. That's all she does know.
Yeah. But then their little conversation gets interrupted by who else? That asshole.
The worst person ever.
Trent. Go away, Trent.
The asshole.
Go away, you absolute homophobic asshole.
Oh my god.
But yeah.
We forgot to mention, this whole scene we're recapping is literally the music video from Girls Like Girls.
Yes.
But with dialogue. So yeah, Coley goes to this party and then like, I don't know, wanders around for a bit. I forget what happens. I just know that Sonia leaves and goes to the pool.
So here's what happens. Trent drags Sonia off at first, and Sonia's like, doesn't want to go with him, but he's like literally dragging her. And then Coley kind of wanders around for a while, and she decides, well, fuck this, I'm going to go, since I'm not going to get her alone. And then that's when she goes outside and she sees Sonia through the window, I think, sitting by the pool. And that's when she goes outside and is like, finally, I'm going to get to have this conversation with her. And that's where it starts the big scene from the music video and the book. Because guess what? Trent interrupts number 2 coming up. Just trigger warning on that. Because they actually have a conversation. She and Coley have a conversation for fucking once after dance camp, and Sonia leans her head on Coley's shoulder, and they're about to kiss because Coley's like, you could, basically she's saying, hey, you could have me, like we could have this, you just need to like be brave and do it. And Sonia's
go over
like,
the cliff's edge, basically, is what she's saying.
Jump off the cliff. And Sonia's like, okay,
leap of faith.
Maybe I can. And so they're about to kiss when Trent grabs Coley by the hair and she
slams her head.
And then he starts screaming at Sonia and grabs her chin. And it's like, I can't believe you did this to me, et cetera, douchey ass shit. And like hurts her. And Coley sees Sonia in pain physically because she predicted all the way back in the beginning of the book when she met Trent that he would be the kind of guy that would get violent. And so that triggers something in Coley to where she's like, oh, fuck no. I have love and like
rage,
I have love and rage on my side. And she starts beating the shit out of Trent. And of course,
a whiny little bitch.
Exactly. And then she gets pulled off of Trent because they have to actually physically pull her off of Trent. And of course, the friends are like, what happened? And Sonia's like, he hit her first. And Brooke's like, oh, fuck that. Trent, you're hurt. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck off, Brooke. So while all of that craziness is going on, Coley is like, I think this is my moment to exit.
Yeah,
So
fuck this friend group.
I have put myself out there, and it's now her turn. And so Coley goes to get her bike, and before she can pedal away, who comes running after her but Sonia? And then she's like, okay, yes, let's do this. Kiss, kiss, kiss. And then the iconic Coley riding on her bike
My bike with the split
the
lip.
with the split lip at the beginning and the end of so fabulous.
This whole thing, my brain was like, what the hell? What is happening?
Just
'Cause I
wait,
didn't
you'll
know
see it
any
in the
of
music
this.
video.
Yeah,
And
Kaitlynn,
I'm
the
just
music video
like-
is more confusing if you don't read this because there's no context for any of it. It's just, yeah. But yeah, the ending scene was the music video.
But
which was,
she kisses her while she's just like blood.
Yeah.
no, it's just a split lip. It's
Just a
not.
split
She's
But
not
like in the
gushing.
book, it makes it sound like her face is bloody.
No, the back of her head, and she has like a split lip. You'll
Like,
see it in
this
the
girl
music
is
video,
dying.
Kaitlynn. We're gonna educate Kaitlynn after this. We're so excited. Gay education, yay!
Education.
Theora's really excited about it.
Oh, I did have one last note.
Do it.
Oh,
This was my favorite from this scene. I kiss her one more time, a sweet, simple kiss that we've never shared before, the kind of kiss you get to have when it's not sad or worried or weighted by anything bad, the kind of kiss that says hi, and I love you, and I miss you, and I'll always be next to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if there's blood on my face. I will kiss you forever.
Now I want to know.
Yes.
Her
No,
fingers map my wounds. So gay.
It's just AO3. But yeah, no, that's important because like up till now it's just been all this like heightened emotional stuff. And so it's like now you can just be free and just be me. And it's beautiful. So thank you, Hayley, for writing that. It was great. Any other notes you wanted to do, Bree? Before we just jump into like general discussion?
I was just trying to find more on how bloody she is for Kaitlynn's brain.
She's not. You'll see it in the music video. It's just a split lip. It's fine. All right, so general discussion time. So overall, so that was Girls Like Girls, the book. We just spoiled literally everything about it. What did you guys think? Did you like it? Would you read it again?
I loved it. It punched me in the feels, and I will be reading it again multiple times. Go, Kaitlynn.
Go, Kaitlynn.
Contrary to what you might think, because I barely spoke in this episode, I did like the book because it was really easy to read, and I could understand everything, and it's very easy. It's just something that you read out and about.
Yeah, it's like you can read it in one day.
Yeah.
I think I talked my friend into reading it. I'm like, you can read it one day. It's fine. Yeah, it was pretty easy. It felt real though. The way she wrote it, it felt like based on a true story. Is like the vibes I got from this because it felt very real.
And since it was from like the time of Theora and I kind of growing up, I was a little bit older, but we were in the same kind of age bracket as Hayley when she's writing all of this, or like the time period in her life. We were all kind of the same age. So it is just like such a freaking blast from the past of being almost back there in your feels. But then at the same time, for me, it was like also because of current situations, like it being present in other. There were just like so many things that my point is, it doesn't matter how old you are. There's something in there you'll relate to as far as like love and loss
and just being a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's actually really funny. I didn't realize. I think Hayley's a year older than me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Hayley, me, and then after us is Taylor Swift, which is really funny. 87, 88, 89.
Yeah, you guys are like the same age as my little sister.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I like the book. I would read it again. Like I said, I contrary to the media we keep doing, I'm not super huge on high school stuff. I want adults being messy and ridiculous, but I thought this was really cute. The way I just love the way she wrote it. Honestly, I was really I didn't know what to expect going into the book. Like I was like, I'm gonna read it. It's Hayley Kiyoko's book, but I was really impressed with her emotive language, and like it reads like I was like, this is a lyricist writing this.
Yes,
I really shouldn't
absolutely.
be surprised. But I was pleasantly surprised by how well it was written and how it read very. It just felt so real, especially Coley's inner monologues. And it's usually the inner monologues and first person point of view that just piss me off after a while. They get really repetitive. She did not do that. She wrote that character really, really well, and I like the live journal entries in there because I like skipping point of views personally. But I like this because Sonia is a mystery to Coley, and Sonia kind of still stays a mystery because you're only privileged to what she's choosing to write and choosing to share on live journal. So I did like that aspect. It kept that character still complicated and somebody you want to figure out the way Coley wants to figure it out. So it read really well from her point of view, like the whole book, and I really, really liked the way she wrote it.
Agree.
All right. Yeah. So, as we mentioned at the very beginning of this, Hayley spent many, many, many years pitching this as a movie and trying to get it made, and it just did not pan out. So, we're going to play a little game and play we're the casting director. Oh my God, Kaitlynn, what is this? We're going to pull people up.
She's showing everyone our picks.
All right, so we're gonna cast the movie. I'll go first. So for Coley, I picked Medora Franchise. Yes, Kaitlynn.
I didn't know who it was until I looked up the names. That's why I pulled.
I was
going
to explain who the people are, but this works too. So she plays Alicia on Sex Lives of College Girls, and so I picked her because she's half Asian. But that's not the main reason I picked her. I picked her because she's somebody who could play Coley, because Coley is somebody who has big gay energy, first of all, and can play the like soft and sweet and then also like edgy tough. And she's 5'2". So I was like, she's perfect because the whole scene with Trenton when she goes to fight him, and I just got her being like, I'm 5'2", and the way that she like starts fights with people, like I was like, she's perfect. She can play that role. Alicia would be great.
As soon as I saw this, I was like, oh shit, that's perfect.
Yeah, she's
perfect. No, so she's perfect.
What are we going to do after that? Exactly, Kaitlynn. Anyway, continue, Theora.
No, just cast who you want to cast. All right, and then for Sonia, I would cast Zendaya because she's Zendaya. And I think she can play the perfect girl very well, who's also super complicated, and she could bring that like emotion to the table. She has the range, is what I'm saying, for the theatrics. I love
I grew up with her.
Her acting is beautiful. I think that they would work well together. So she's my Sonia, is Zendaya. And then I wanted to cast Blake because I thought it would be fun. And so I chose Liv Houston because I think they could play Blake like no other. Liv plays Teen Van in Yellow Jackets. They've been in a bunch of things. And I think that they could do like I broke into your trailer to steal your weed really well. So I was like, Liv would be so perfect for this. There by Blake. And I would like to see Liv and Midori do stuff together.
Were they part of the gay couple in Let It Snow?
Yes. Oh yeah, we should watch that movie one day. It's pretty good.
I never actually finished that movie. I'd like to watch it.
Yeah. No, Liv's in that. Liv is I love Santa Clarita Diet. I love everything Liv's in.
Oh, I tried to watch that. It was very, very weird.
It's so good though. Oh man, it's so good. Anyway, so for Trent, I was like, who has the most punchable face of all times? And so I picked Jack Gleason, who played Joffrey in Game of Thrones. I think, unfortunately, this man has the most punchable face because who doesn't want to punch Joffrey Baratheon? I do. Sorry, Jack. You're my Trent. And for Alex, I picked Taylor Zachara Perez, who is playing Alex Claremont Diaz in the Red, White, and Royal Blue movie. So he was in my brain. I was like, you're the perfect Alex.
Wait, he was in
There
the
you
kissing
go.
booth?
Mm-hmm. I love him.
Interesting.
Because he has that, like, he could be fiery and feisty, but also, like, really sweet and listen. And so, like, he gave me that vibe that he could be the chill Alex and then the fuck you Trent kind of Alex. So he's my
But I
Alex.
love how your people are all in, like, the 30s.
Listen, I don't know young actors, and I was looking for people who could bring it with their acting skills. Age is irrelevant.
Okay.
Your
In my
turn,
casting.
next.
Kaitlynn.
Yes, go, Kaitlynn. Wow, you did the whole thing. Let's go, let's go.
Oh, yeah. So this started out as me saying, I have no one cast, and then throughout, like, the past few hours, I have, like, literally the entire book cast. Alright, so I was struggling with Coley because Theora told me to just picture Hayley Kiyoko when I was reading, so that's...
No, literally, like, if a dream casting is Hayley Kiyoko is Coley, but, like, if we had to cast somebody else.
So I picked Paris. I can't say her last name. Barelk.
Yeah,
she's
sure.
been in a few things. You guys are not going to know most of my people, I feel like, because they are younger. And
that's okay.
And shows that I grew up with, like, so she was in Lab Rats and Alexa and Katie on Netflix. For Sonia, I picked McKenna Grace because this girl can, like, literally do anything. And she's just amazing. I love her. So, yes, that's my reasoning for that.
She has Sonya vibes, for sure.
For
all right,
SJ, I picked Joey King.
This is a good SJ. Joey King.
I feel like Joey and McKenna, I think they actually are friends in real life, but they would play friends pretty well. Yeah.
And she looks like she could cut a bitch, so that's what we need for SJ.
Yes, very versatile as well.
Right?
No, not Blake. Brooke. I have Jenna Ortega.
Yeah.
What? All right. I think, oh man, poor Jenna.
Poor Jenna.
I think Jenna could do it. Jenna is also very versatile.
I know she could do it.
But yeah, for Brooke, I saw someone with, like, dark hair and like this, so I picked Jenna because I saw her name and I was like, well, I know she can do shit. For Blake, Theora brought up Bella Ramsey.
Yep, that was my second choice.
And I was like, well, they need to be in here somewhere, so...
Yes, Blake!
But I don't know, See, like,
Bella Ramsey could 100% steal weed out of somebody's house. Like,
they have such a baby face, but then you get here and you're like, okay, a little more rugged.
I'm saying, like, look at them in the suit. Like, yes.
Oh my gosh! Don't pitch that. Don't pitch the interview like that. If we ever.
I'm just saying, because, like, Blake comes off as, like, cool and, like...
Yeah. I want, see, the thing is, this is what I know Bella as.
I don't know if Bella was
very, very different than, what the hell's her name?
The Last of Us? Wait, different than what?
Yeah. Ellie?
Brooke?
Oh, Ellie, yeah.
Ellie, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know Bella from Game of Thrones, which is even more out there than what you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yep. But yeah, Brooke, good choice.
All right. So for Trent, I picked Milo Manheim, and he was in Disney's Zombies. And I don't know. He's usually, like, the good guy, but I feel like you could easily make him look very punchable.
Oh no! I agree.
Yeah, I would punch his face. Look at him.
Yeah. So sorry, Milo. I'm sure you're a great dude, but I think you could pull it off. And then for Alex, I've never seen this actor, but I was doing research. And I picked Noah Schnapp. I don't know, from Stranger Things.
Oh, from Stranger Things. Oh my god, yeah, he's a great Alex. Great choice.
And I just found out that he's out, so.
Oh yeah, he's
There you go.
he is.
Oh, he got into UPenn. That's great. Sorry.
Good for you.
Good for you. I love your casting, Kaitlynn. Great job.
Thank you.
All right, Bree, who you got?
Well, you guys did better than me because I was just working off of, I don't know, my brain. So here's my Coley, because Fievel Stewart is...
All right.
In my brain, I have always seen her as somebody that is really good at acting with that defense, like sarcasm defense mechanism type deal that Coley has.
Mm-hmm.
To where she's like automatically on the defensive in like all of these conversations with new people. And I think that she's capable of playing the more awful grief emotions as well. And then for Sonia, Isabella Gomez, because good Lord, that woman. I know she could do it. I know she could do it. And I also took in the height difference into consideration. I mean, just look at, like, when we know her mostly from playing Elena in One Day at a Time, right?
Yeah.
But if you see her in her, like, her own self, it's just like, yes, I could see her being that girl that everybody wants. But that has the range to be like to play the scenes that Sonia has to play.
I love
her.
And then
I love her. Good, excellent choice.
So Trent, because he's the only other one I cast. So from Wednesday.
Oh yes,
Hunter Dewey.
Good choice.
Why do I remember this dude?
He was like the main romance interest.
Yeah.
For that whole season.
Wait a minute. You know what's funny? Is he gay?
I have no clue.
I don't know.
Anyway, so that's who I picked because he's really good at acting. Hunter Doohan. Hunter Doohan. He's really good at acting douchey because he did have to. His character did turn douchey in the end of that, but he's also like that super, has that all-American handsome boy look too.
Yeah,
I just saw him as a good.
Yeah, no, that's a good fit. The duality of just like presenting as like perfect boy and then being a complete trash on the other end. Yeah, Hunter can do it for sure. Good cast. All right, guys. Well, hopefully, if this book stays on the New York Times enough, we may get the movie one day. Who knows? All we can do is hydrate to Lesbian Jesus and manifest.
Manifesto.
Just finish that show.
All right. Before this goes off the rails, let us actually hydrate for Lesbian Jesus on our hydration scale in her honor for her book. So how much would you hydrate for Lesbian Jesus's book?
10 cups.
Damn, 10 cups? 8? All right. I'm going to give it a 9.
I love it.
Yep. It's Lesbian Jesus.
As usual, I have no idea what I'm basing my number off of.
There was no dog, Kaitlynn. I'm surprised it got an 8.
Yeah.
I'm always the lowest one for some reason.
Well, I think it's just that you could read... I mean, it was just like... I think it was a book that was easily relatable, so I think that number makes sense.
For sure. All right, so that wraps up this book club. Kaitlynn, would you like to announce what we're doing next time on book club?
Sure, because Theora can't do it because I stole her book.
You did.
So, next month we are reading Rainbow Islands by Devin Harnois. I think that's how you say it.
Harnois.
So,
Harnois.
I'm excited to read this book because of the book, and I have Theora's notes in it.
Yeah, it's another like book that's easy to read, like this one was. I read it for the trans rights readathon. Like I've mentioned it multiple times on something related to this podcast, but a friend of mine who transitioned, this book meant a lot to them when they were going through that, so we read it. And
Should I read the summary?
Sure, read the summary.
Can you continue what you said?
No, go for it.
Okay. 16-year-old Jason chooses exile and expects a hard scrabble life, but instead finds a thriving, supportive community. While exploring his identity as a transgender boy, he also discovers adventure. Kraken attacks, naval battles, a flying island built by asexual people, and a daring escape involving glow-in-the-dark paint. I hope that makes sense once you read this book.
Oh, it does. This book is so fun.
He also has a desperate crush on Skye, a spirited buccaneer girl, but fear keeps him from expressing his feelings. When Jason and his companions discover the Republicans, are planning a war of extermination, they rally the people of the Rainbow Islands to fight back. Shy, bookish Jason will have to find his inner courage, or everything and everyone he loves will be lost forever.
I mean, it's true.
It's great. No, it's great, and it's a happy story. It's happy.
My grandmother read it.
Kaitlyn's grandma read it
in a day.
Yeah. So that'll be our next book club. I think for November,
August.
Is it August?
Yeah.
No, we're skipping a month.
We're skipping September.
Is that what we're doing?
We'll talk about it. We'll let you know on social media.
We'll let you know when this is happening, but this will be the next book we're going to read.
Because we're doing the spooky book in October.
Right. Yeah. I thought this was September. Doesn't matter. All right, so this will be next time. We'll be skipping some month. We'll let you know.
Yeah, but, it might change too because of some stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Spoiler. That's not really a spoiler.
It's not a spoiler.
Until next time.
Hydrate for Lesbian Jesus.
And gay, it'll fall over the place. Ooh. Bye.
And with that, we've been Big Gay Energy. If you like this episode, check out all our other episodes right here on YouTube. Please leave a comment below, and subscribe for more amazing, super gay content.
If you'd like to support us, check out our merch store, or join our Patreon for early access to episodes, exclusive content, and so much more.